I hear a lot of noise out there that the industry needs to do away with existing rails and replace everything from scratch. But I don't think we need to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's do a reality check. Today, we connect 4 billion accounts across over 200 countries, 40,000 country corridors, moving the world's GDP every 2-3 days. And already, we can banish some old stereotypes to the history books. So today, 75% of payments on the SWIFT network now reach end beneficiary banks within 10 minutes. And with the scheme that we kickstarted last week in collaboration with several major banks, many of you present here this week, retail payments can be taken yet to a different level, with full value transfers, no hidden fees, and instant settlement at global scale, just what consumers expect. So this is a powerful platform for the future. A platform that has double-digit traffic growth today, and with this rejuvenation track, can be even more transformational in the future. But we're going to go beyond that.
So SWIFT rails are upgraded. So obviously, the SWIFT representative in the video talking very positive and big about how awesome SWIFT is. But the great news is he didn't mention the fact that it is getting a supercharged upgrade with crypto. We did talk about this in yesterday's video. SWIFT is building the blockchain ledger with 30 plus banks using consensus. So this is a little concerning for Ripple and XRP because basically their whole entire messaging was stating that they were going to be replacing the SWIFT system. Now, the representative from SWIFT made a very good point. Why would we replace something that's been in place that actually works when you can just add on hybrid style and take it to the next level, and then eventually we can switch full-time to crypto? So that's what they've decided to do. We'll see how this all works out. This is just a bolt-on when it comes to this consensus piece. And if it does not work out, then obviously they can make a switch to somebody, potentially Ripple. And breaking today, Crypto.com gets its CFTC license. Crypto.com is now the first major crypto platform to secure a US CFTC derivatives license. CoinDesk comes out with a report that's claiming Forbes says Barron Trump is worth $150 million and has made an estimated $80 million from token sales, with an additional $2.3 billion in locked up tokens. XRP may be Wall Street's dark horse, with spot ETF filings in motion and some funds viewing it as next Bitcoin. Is XRP Wall Street's dark horse? ETF filings are putting XRP back in the spotlight. As you know, we have a lot coming up. When financial firms roll out ETFs for crypto, it often signals an asset is crossing more into the mainstream rather than the niche. For some, on the surface, XRP looks like an unlikely candidate. It spent years fighting US SEC in court, doesn't carry the cultural weight of Bitcoin or Ethereum. Still, major asset managers are filing ETF applications. Did you know that in July of 2023, a US court ruled that XRP itself is not a security when sold on secondary market? The possibility of a spot XRP ETF has moved in the spotlight as regulators sift through a flood of crypto fund applications. Established managers like Grayscale, Franklin, Canary Capital are definitely in the mix, but so are newer entrants experimenting with more complex products. XRP ETF filings with the SEC right now waiting for approval: Bitwise, Canary Capital, 21 Shares, Wisdom Tree, ProShares, Grayscale, CoinShares, Volatility Shares, Franklin Templeton, Hashdex, and Takerium. Did you know RippleNet, Ripple's enterprise payment network that uses XRP for liquidity, is already integrated with over 70 countries and more than 1,000 financial institutions worldwide? Between October 18th and October 25th, the SEC is set to rule on 6 major XRP ETF applications. Add on top of that, Ripple's application for a national bank charter under the review by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is also expected to be decided in the same October window. If approved, Ripple would gain the ability to operate as a federally supervised banking institution, opening the door to regulated payments, custody, and service well beyond crypto. And why the dual outcomes matter together ETF bank charter, analysts argue that the green light on both fronts could institutionalize XRP as not only investable, but also operationally essential, driving heavy inflows, credible liquidity, and major rewrite of its financial narrative. XRP being labeled the dark horse, XRP's case for Wall Street's dark horse comes down to a belief that demand is being widely underestimated. Nate Garassi argues that people are severely underestimating investor demand for spot XRP and Solana ETFs, pointing to the way early doubts about Bitcoin and Ethereum funds vanished once billions began flowing in. Market signals are backing him up, saying XRP futures have already topped $1 billion in open interest. Forecasts of the ETF inflows add to the case. Canary Capital CEO projects as much as $5 billion in initial demand, while JP Morgan estimates nearly $8 billion in annual if approved. And did you know on SBI VC Trade, a leading Japanese crypto exchange, XRP was the second most traded crypto in April 2025, right behind Bitcoin. Now, there are some skepticism and risks for the haters out there. For all the optimism, skepticism continues to shadow XRP ETF prospects, especially among the largest institutions. BlackRock, for example, has explicitly declined to pursue a US spot XRP ETF, spotting limited client interest. Institutional wallets have accumulated nearly $928 million worth of XRP. So there's an uneasy balance between speculative churn and strategic positioning. XRP's fate hinges on October's rulings and Ripple's bank charter bid. A win could push it into mainstream. A loss may cement lasting doubt. Either way, the next chapter will be decisive. All right, jumping into the charts for XRP, what we see right now going on is a consolidation level between our $3.02 resistance and our support here at $2.85. Now, as we've been talking about on the charting here, we would like to see price actually climb back and get support above $3 before that October 6th new moon phase will be kicking in, which will actually be the full moon. And full moon energy historically has done really well for XRP to upside position. When we look at our long-term momentum wave, however, we are bearish. As we can see right here, we're below the zero line. We have turned red. Price is starting to tick up just a tad, and our momentum is starting to pick up as well. We'd like to see this break above the zero line. Again, we're using the Wolfpack indicator with the fast of 10 and slow of 30 for this indicator, if you'd like to use that at home. Plus, we are also using the shaft trend cycle. The main one we're using here is the fast shaft trend cycle. Settings are 10, 10, and 30. And this gives us a really good indication of when the cycle is losing momentum or gaining momentum. And over the last couple of days, we have started to move back to the upside. We had reset our cycle at zero, making its way towards the 100 level again.